Anyways, hello, good evening, and welcome to Damage Control. And boy, we've got something. This will be our third night of Persona 4 Arena. And we've got some more story mode to do. I mean, we're covering pretty much only story mode.
Here's a list
for
of
this.
sponsors bringing you today's program.
Yes, please support the official release.
It's a wrong road. Echo when they're getting newborns. Body stronger. The farther on you go. Thought I knew you. We can never say I know me. That sorry shadow I could turn out to be. Sometimes I cannot. Just can't understand where my head is at. Oh, what my heart is saying. All throughout the struggle, sometimes I feel I can't shake the habit. I just can't wake up. But I know in the end, I'll be the chill. 'Cause the road will go on with me or without making no compromise. Fighting for a better life.
Persona 4 Arena.
That's the name of the game. Roll credits. So, what viewers dared speak up last time
to the Velvet Room.
have
This
indicated
place exists between dream and reality.
that we're
Mind
going to do
and magic.
Aegis tonight.
Now then, why
And-
don't you introduce yourself?
Once we've completed Aegis, it'll unlock one more story. And it'll unlock one more Dio.
This is a space that only those who have, in one way or another,
And
entered
once
into a
we've done
contract
that,
may enter. In
like
your daily
everything,
life,
like
you
story mode just
subconsciously heard
opens
the call
wide.
to awaken, and you chose to follow
Because right
the
now we can
destiny
only
of your inner
go
voice,
like
thereby
3/4 of the way
enacting
through
your
any of the
glorious
stories,
awakening to your
which is
power.
super lame. But after next week's contestant, we'll have access to everything.
Please
Very
leave
well.
it to me.
Are you awake?
I'm sorry. I had turned off my consciousness to test the new equipment installed on me.
Yes, that's why we use the emergency channel. We've been asked to go into action.
Has something happened? Who sent the request?
We'll brief you on the details in transit. Also, regulations say that the member with the lowest serial number is in command. Currently, that's you.
I'm in command? Are you sure about this? After all, I'm...
You're well suited for it, in my opinion.
Understood.
May 1st, 2012, 9:30 a.m.? Well, I'm sure it's military time. Or anywhere but the US time, so it must be a.m. Men equipped with assault suits and tactical vests line the concrete ground. Their urban camouflage and unmoving poses give them the appearance of an orderly line of rocks. 30 minutes have already passed since the special assault team took up positions near the passenger plane stopped on the landing strip. Their captain glares at the passenger plane before he slowly turns around and looks at each of his men. Every last one wears ski masks and thick tactical visors to mask their identities, but he knows them nonetheless.
Tell me about the situation and make it quick. We don't have much time.
One of the team steps forward next to him. The touchscreen tablet in his right hand has a summary of the case on it. On May 1st, 2012, around 900 hours, a wide-body passenger aircraft headed for Kagoshima sent out a 7500 squawk code during passenger boarding. Following the signal, the captain reported to the control tower that the aircraft had been hijacked. Since the uprising occurred during passenger boarding, only half of the passengers, 168 exactly, had boarded. The 10 crew members bring it to a total of 178 hostages thought to be on board. Some passengers seated near the hatch had succeeded in escaping. The following points were gained from questioning them. Take care not to be seen by the hijackers. There are 3 hijackers. All of them are covering their faces with ski masks. All of them are armed with what seem to be pistols. From their voices and builds, they appear to be males. They all spoke fluent Japanese. Currently, the aircraft in question has moved to the front of the landing strip at the hijackers' insistence and is stopped there. The authorities have attempted to negotiate with the hijackers by radio, but they have made no demands. The team member finishes his report. Well, there we go. Well, that's a good premise that, leads the story to some fighting, wouldn't you say? The captain nods silently and addresses his team.
There hasn't been a plane hijacked in this country in over 10 years. None of us, not even me, have dealt with this before. Still, the procedure remains the same. Trust yourself, remember your training, and keep a cool head.
The captain turns toward the plane again. Taking that as a cue, the team scatters to their specified posts to take up positions. The only thing to do now is to see what happens. Eventually, 10 o'clock comes around. Half an hour has passed already with no new developments. Repeated attempts to raise the hijackers have been made, but they have yet to make any demands. Tensions are beginning to rise. The worst-case scenario is that they have no need to make demands, that their objective is to seize the passenger plane itself. In this case, the team would be facing a large-scale terrorist attack. I am so glad we didn't do this story last week.
Come on, talk to us.
The captain mutters to himself, deep in thought. From the perspective of rescuing the hostages, every second that passes without learning the hijackers' objective is a second wasted. The captain and his team can wait in hiding, but the same is not true for the passengers on board. For untrained civilians, extreme stress can easily lead to physical and mental problems. It's true not only for the hostages, but for the hijackers as well. When people lose their nerve, they tend to act rashly. The hostages will begin to lose hope, and the hijackers will begin taking it out on the hostages. An hour into the incident, anything could be happening inside the plane. The captain could do nothing but glare as the time ticked by. After 15 more minutes had passed, a slight change in the situation was reported. All emails and calls going through stations near the airport are being checked. The details of the message thought to be from inside the plane are not confirmed. It appeared that the hijackers had confiscated all cellular phones as per standard hijacking plans, but...
Sir, there's a report from HQ. They picked up a transmission from one of the passengers' cell phones. It's a smartphone with GPS, so they can tell it's inside the plane.
Confirm those details for me.
There are 2 possibilities. The hijackers are using the passenger's phone to contact associates outside, or that a passenger is contacting someone in secret. Welcome back, Silver. I'm counting my lucky blessings that we did not do Aegis last week. Because yikes. The latter possibility is more likely. More and more devices have communication capabilities now, making it extremely difficult for hijackers to remove them entirely from play. And the more hostages involved, the more courageous they become, and the more likely they are to take risks. Unfortunately, more hostages involved means it's all the more dangerous to provoke the hijackers. Each individual hostage is worth less to them. The details of the transmission to make it apparent that the situation is worse than the team had assumed. Cell phone's owner is a man in his 60s and first class. He signed up with a certain service after being diagnosed with heart illness. It's a remote electrocardiogram monitoring service that keeps track of the patient's heartbeat. A scheduled message was automatically sent from the patient's cell phone. The service provider promptly contacted the police, informing them that the man was in bad shape.
A man's life is at stake if we don't wrap this up within the hour. Looks like we can't stall for time.
As panic spreads, the proposal for negotiations based on this fact and a proposal to storm the plane are both considered. But because only half the passengers had boarded, the situation inside the plane is uncertain, making devising a tactical plan difficult. Though if nothing is done, a passenger will surely succumb within the hour. A blunder like that must be avoided at all costs. That was the thinking that guided the police officials to make their decision. That same day, at 10:30,
What? Withdraw? This is a hijacking! What are you thinking, withdrawing our people? Yes, I understand.
Wait, what's going on?
Orders are orders. We'll fall back at once. Get ready.
no one understood the sudden withdrawal order. Why withdraw the team during a hijacking? No one on the scene agreed with the decision, but the order could not be overturned. The men here are not the brain, but the limbs whose power is best put to use by precisely following orders. Just then, another group approaches without a sound. Its members are dressed differently, in suits and trench coats, but all of them wear black with sunglasses. Alright, it's Will Smith. He's gonna slap the shit out of those hijackers and then neuralize them. See, this is totally the MIB rap. At a glance, it is clear that they are tall, well-built, and used to rough situations. With nearly 20 of them gathered in one place, they are imposing despite their silence. They don't seem to be airport personnel, but neither are they known to the police. However, the captain senses a kindred spirit in them and approaches.
Who are you?
Yeah, that's some real kindred spirit communication there. His voice is laced with suspicion, but the man in black at the head of the group speaks dispassionately, as if he heard nothing.
For the next half hour, we're in command of this scene.
See, MIB, told you.
You didn't answer the question. Who's responsible for this?
Captain's tone unconsciously hardens. The group of men in black parts, and one of their number in their rear steps forth. The captain can't stop himself from furrowing his brow. You can already sense the unrest spreading amongst his team, watching in silence. The one stepping forward looks like a 17 or 18-year-old girl. She is dressed in black and sunglasses like those around her, but her slender build is out of place. Not only that, her blonde hair stands out even more in contrast to her all-black outfit. The girl walks a few more steps forward and removes her sunglasses. The captain had intended to appraise the look in her eyes, but only gasps at her crystalline blue eyes. He quickly regains himself and frowns at her.
So you're the one in charge?
Yes,
Are you shitting me?
there is no time to waste quarreling.
The girl looks at him fearlessly, despite the armed team surrounding her. The unreality of it all is what helps the captain gets over his surprise. Her age and appearance are most likely meaningless. She is clearly no ordinary girl.
Are you not even gonna tell me who you're with?
I cannot.
So you expect me to hand over control of the scene to you without even telling me who the hell you are?
I believe orders to withdraw have already been issued.
Her calm, sweet voice only irritates him. The captain closes the distance with the girl, and while he stops short of grabbing her suit, he glares into those blue eyes from only inches away.
Lady, I don't know what kind of juice you have with the brass, but are you ready to be responsible for the deaths of those passengers?
Your protests are doing nothing to relieve the danger. Rescuing them as soon as possible is my, or rather, our duty.
The girl is completely unruffled as she speaks. It's like she's a machine or something, the captain thinks, more dumbfounded than angry.
Have faith in us. We too wish to save them.
For the first time, something like determination flickers within those crystalline eyes. After looking into them, the captain finds something akin to resolve and confidence in them. He steps back. Raising his right hand to his chest, he shows the girl his watch.
Right. But you got exactly 30 minutes and not a second more.
Understood.
After the girl nods, she gives instructions to prepare a stair car to the group she is leading. The captain's fist tightens nervously. Since there are few uses for a stair car, quietly moving into place may make the hijackers think, quietly? How would you do that quietly? May make the hijackers think that a strike team is getting ready to storm the plane. But there is no hesitation in the girl's actions.
Well then, move in as naturally as possible while staying in their blind spots.
Eventually, a roofless stair car advances slowly towards the passenger plane.
The closest we can get without them noticing will be about 10 meters from the plane.
That will be more than enough.
More than enough? What's the point of half-assing it like that? The captain's annoyance begins to turn to curiosity. If she is replacing the SAT team, then she must have a plan beyond simple brute force, but
Now, let's begin.
the stair car stops. The girl gets out of the driver's seat. She walks slightly behind the vehicle, turns toward the passenger plane, and sits with one knee up.
What's she doing?
The captain brings up a pair of binoculars to see her behavior more closely. At first, he assumes she is going to use the stair car's movement as a decoy and send her team in from a different direction. Like humans, most vehicles have significant blind spots above and underneath. Yet that doesn't seem to be her plan. Does she plan to make her move using the stair car as a shelter? Is she possibly going to snipe them? The captain discards the possibility. It would be foolish to set up a sniper perch at a lower angle of elevation, where the girl is now. While the captain mulls over the question, the girl makes an unexpected move. She appears to lower her stance slightly one moment, and in the next, she is nowhere in sight. By the time the captain gasps that she is running, she has already reached the top of the stair car. Her slender body launches like a cannonball from the top of the stairs.
What? She jumped?
Even the SAT members voice their surprise. The girl's leap arcs over a distance of over 10 meters, because why not use the same word within 4 words of each other? Because who needs proofreading? It's clearly beyond the abilities of a human being. Coming in the middle of a hijacking, the scene seems even more surreal. The girl lands on top of the aircraft and stands, as if nothing unusual had happened. She looks at the aircraft beneath her and slowly turns her head to scan it from back to front. It reminds the captain of the movement of a security camera. He knows it should be impossible, but he wonders if she can see through the plane's ceiling. Actually, I wonder that too. That's not something we know about Aegis, at least not yet, right? Eventually, the girl seems convinced of something and begins walking. When she reaches the boarding hatch at the front, she moves her right hand to her back. The captain notices a special knife, coated gray from blade to hilt, is in her hand.
What's she gonna do with that knife?
The girl suddenly lowers her stance and slides down the side of the aircraft. Just as she's about to fall, she thrusts the knife into the jamb of the hatch and dangles from it.
This is crazy.
She then uses her left hand to pull the handle and unlocks the hatch with ease. Once the thick, airtight door juts out of the aircraft, the girl nimbly jumps into the plane. The captain is shocked by her dauntless methods. He begins to wonder if she intends to defuse the situation on her own. The captain lowers the binoculars and faces the reality before him with his own eyes. Who in the world is she? The doubts he had dismissed rise within him again. A warning light goes on in the cramped cockpit. Two people there notice it at once. One of them is the captain, sitting in the pilot seat. Different captain. The other is the man holding a gun to the back of the captain's head. The light is labeled hatch open. Even an amateur can understand what it means. The man suddenly tenses and stands at the ready at the passenger side door. He prepares himself for someone to charge through it. But he quickly regains himself and turns the gun back onto the captain. The man casts irritated glances back and forth between the captain and the door for a while, but eventually approaches the door, his gun pointed at the captain. He cautiously cracks open the door and looks toward the passenger seating. Just outside the cockpit is the first class section. But the passengers were gathered in the economy class at the time of the hijacking. First class is empty. The man squints. To ward off observation, or worse, snipers, the windows are down. Coming into the darkened plane from the bright cockpit forces his eyes to adjust. But from the corner of his eye, he sees a gleam of light shining that's unlike the regular lights. And within that light is a silhouette. Before he can react, the silhouetted figure closes the distance. A hand grabs the edge of the door and opens it with tremendous force. Two quick, heavy shots are fired. The man collapses unconscious without a sound. But they played a sound effect anyway. The captain turns around in surprise to see the intruder, a blonde girl with an index finger to her lips to signal silence. She first lays the man on the ground and then removes the pistol in his hand. On closer inspection, it is only a model gun supplemented with metal parts. The seam between the parts is in different places compared to a real gun. If taken apart, the disassembled pieces would look nothing like a real pistol. The girl then takes handcuffs from a small pouch on her waist and fastens the man's arms to a seat leg near the window. Even if he wakes up, he will be unable to stand. Though the captain still looks as if he wishes to say something, the girl's eyes meet his and insist on silence as she leaves. The curtain dividing the first class and the economy class is closed. The girl hides herself behind it and peeks through. There's a man in each of the aisles on the left and right. Neither seems to have noticed her. Passengers and cabin crew are crammed into seats in the back. Everyone's placement matches the readings from her heat sensors she picked up from above the plane. Both remaining hijackers are closer to first class. The man closest to her is only a few steps away. She judges that he can easily be disabled before reacting if she moves quickly. They both carry pistols, but they are the same type as the downed hijacker. From what she can see, these two are mere model guns. The girl swiftly pushes aside the curtain and grabs the closer man's right wrist. The hijacker, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of such a slender girl, stops moving for a moment. You see, he would not have been surprised at all if a less slender girl were to appear instead. Apparently. In that moment, he surrenders any chance of victory he may have had. With a pain cry, because again, who needs proofreaders? With a cry of pain, he drops the pistol to the ground. The girl uses her grip on his right hand to put him on the ground, then smoothly pulls out another pair of handcuffs and locks his arms to the passenger seat. The man thrashes about, but despite his struggle, He is no better than a worm writhing on the ground. The last hijacker finally recovers from his shock and aims his gun. The girl pulls a button from the other man's sleeve and flicks it towards her opponent's face. The button travels at immense speed, though it was only fired from her fingers. The man tries to shield his face, but he is too late and groans in pain when the projectile impacts his forehead. The girl does not let the opportunity pass. She easily jumps over the 3-seat wide center block of seats with one arm and grabs the man's right hand. There, she repeats the same procedure she used before. Their weapons are immediately seized while they are restrained on the floor. The passengers are only now grasping what's happening before their eyes. A murmuring chorus rises.
Do not be alarmed. I have come to rescue you. Your safety has not been secured yet, so please stay calm and remain in your seats.
Yes. Please keep your seatbelts fastened until we arrive at the gate. The passengers erupt in a cheer. There is sporadic applause as well. But there is a slightly hysterical tinge to it in reaction to the tension of the situation.
Excuse me. We were told someone requires medical assistance for their chronic heart illness. His name is...
Just as the girl approaches the center of the plane, she senses a male passenger stand up from his seat. He is extremely calm and quiet as he does so. The girl belatedly picks up on the incongruity. All of the other passengers are nervous. It is then that she feels something hard pressing up against the back of her head. She knows without looking that it is the muzzle of a gun. The nearby passengers' cries of relief suddenly turn into screams.
I am impressed with your judgment to stay hidden until an opportunity arose.
The girl is unperturbed as she continues to look straight ahead. The man stays silent and keeps the pistol pressed to her head. She knows there is no danger of being shot, but she is not yet sure that he was the only one in hiding. Left with no choice, the girl accedes to his demand and moves forward. After about 10 steps, another man stands up, as expected.
Ah, and you too.
The man doesn't answer. He slowly approaches from the front. The girl is now sandwiched from the front and back. Luckily, there's no precious meat involved yet. At the moment, footsteps sound from beyond the curtain leading into first class. The two culprits both react at once. But it is too late. Over 10 men in black rush in at once from beyond the curtain. While the girl had drawn the hijacker's attention with the scuffle, the stair car had closed in. First, they pin down the man standing in front. The narrow passage gives the man behind her a short reprieve, but it doesn't last long. The moment he lowers the hand gripping the pistol in order to escape, the girl grabs his wrist. So focused was he on the men who burst onto the scene that he forgot about the threat the girl posed. He is immediately tripped and restrained once he falls on his back. The girl stands up and looks around. If there are any more hijackers inside the plane, this would be their last chance to make a stand. But no one rises from their seat. She glances toward the men in black, and they nod back in acknowledgement. It seems the crisis has been averted. The girl carefully keeps her thoughts from appearing on her face and gives an inner sigh of relief. Soon afterward, the sweeper team gives a report confirming that the aircraft is secure. The girl works with the cabin crew to arrange transport for the man with the heart illness before she steps out for a moment. She turns on the blue indicator light on the stair car and waves it in circles towards the SAT's position. It is the signal that the crisis is over.
She's done already?
On receiving the sign, the SAT team on standby starts talking amongst themselves.
It hasn't even been 5 minutes. There should have been at least 3 hijackers.
You know what they remind me of is those guys. Like Men in Black or something.
Yes, we're glad you've caught up to us, SAT Captain.
Captain, who are those people? Is that one even human?
captain sighs with reluctance.
This is just a rumor, but I've heard that the higher-ups formed an unofficial security group in conjunction with a certain corporation. It's supposedly for cases that are a little strange. I hear they have some official standing with the police, too.
Oh man, is that guy with the backwards hat supposed to be Junpei?
Though it's all some private enterprise, so technically there's no authority involved at all.
Oh, this isn't even Ultimax. We might get that at some point, but it depends on how much reading I feel like doing.
What? But this is Japan we're talking about.
A search and destroy unit that answers to no department and keeps no records. I've heard them called shadow operatives.
He turns on his own blue light as a sign of understanding and waves it left and right. The response light comes from up ahead. The girl then sees the captain spreading his arms in a shrug and smiles for the first time. She feels slightly bad for them. Her team may have shamed them, though they had done nothing wrong. I should apologize to them later. But then, in the corner of the girl's eye, near the entrance of the luggage carts at the corner of the building, a figure catches her attention.
A girl?
The girl seems to be about her age and is wearing a plain, cape-like dress. The girl on the aircraft feels oddly uneasy at seeing the figure. To begin with, given the heightened security, the parking entrance should be strictly sealed, but the figure looks perfectly ordinary.
May I check on something?
The girl calls to the SAT captain over the radio. There appears to be some slight interference necessitating an adjustment of the dial.
What is it?
If you look towards my left, in front of the luggage loading bay is...
But during the moment she looked away, the figure had disappeared.
She's not there. That can't be.
The girl looks around, but the figure is nowhere to be seen. Where could she have gone in this open space with nowhere to hide?
What's the matter?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was apparently seeing things.
The girl shuts the radio off. Who was that just now? Was I truly seeing things? With those questions in mind, the girl tries to remember that figure's appearance in detail. Only then does she realize the cause of her unease. That light blue dress the figure wore, it was very similar to one she herself had once. It reminds her of those days when she did not yet have a heart. The girl puts those thoughts aside and returns to the aircraft. The mission does not end with taking the culprits into custody. In truth, along with defusing the situation, securing the safety of one particular passenger was her highest priority. This fact was not revealed to the SAT team. The passenger was originally seated in first class, but would have been forced to move. The girl looks carefully through the restless passengers. It is not long before she finds the face she seeks. Looking relieved, the girl walks toward the passenger in question.
Are you all right, Mitsuru-san?
I guess. I didn't think you'd be the one to come.
The woman who answers has long, shining hair that would make an impression on anyone. Her refined appearance makes her stand out over and above her calm position in her seat. But Aigis knows the woman well.
In fact, I was surprised to be called on to deal with something like this. The suspects made no demands. What were they after? At first, I thought I was summoned because you were their target, Mitsuru-san.
The higher-ups must have thought the same thing and panicked. Especially considering there's cargo on that plane they wouldn't want made public. Wait a second, that cargo...
Is something wrong?
This hijack seems strange now that I think about it. They made their move before takeoff, which is odd timing, and they forced the boarding announcement to be stopped. I thought maybe it was their way of trying to pull it off with a small team.
Are you saying that rather than a passenger, they were after that cargo? It's true that no one would consider the unloaded luggage during a hijacking.
I guess I need you to check on my things. Though if I'm right, it's already too late.
In response, Aegis instructs her team via radio to secure all luggage transport routes. Moreover, she requests a search to ensure no cargo has been taken.
Even if you're right, why would they be interested in your belongings?
My usual cargo wouldn't be worth hijacking a plane over. But I was carrying something sensitive this time. Normally, if they wanted it, they'd have to bypass a Kirijo facility's security or attack the vehicle transporting it. But by doing it this way, they can divert the entire country's attention with a few model guns.
Mitsuru smiles. Aegis can tell she is impressed with their audacity despite herself.
Mitsuru-san's cargo. Sensitive belongings for a vacation. Ah, I understand. Hijacking a plane out of a desperate desire for undergarments. This incident will surely go down in history.
Mitsuru's eyes bulge at the unexpected comment.
What? You're jumping to conclusions. It's not sensitive in that way. Besides, my underwear is in this bag and that's it. Enough about underwear.
She forces a cough and steers the conversation back on track.
More accurately, my cargo contained items from Ergo Research. My trip to Kagoshima was partly vacation, but also to oversee their transferal to Yakushima.
The official name of Ergo Research is the Kirijo Ergonomics Research Lab. Both Mitsuru and Aegis have many bitter memories associated with the name. A pall hangs in the air. But a radio transmission from one of Aegis' team cuts the moment short.
Aegis speaking. I see. Understood.
Mitsuru looks at Aegis questioningly and she nods.
It's as you suspected. They found that one of the boxes scheduled for transport has gone missing.
I thought as much.
With a small sigh, Mitsuru rises from her seat.
We must get it back, I guess. The rest of the team can finish up here. I need you to come with me.
Aegis inspects Mitsuru's face carefully.
Will you be joining the search as well?
Well, I am personally involved, so yes.
In other words, you will officially rejoin the unit and participate in this mission. To be more direct, is it accurate to say that you are abandoning your vacation?
Mitsuru sighs with some exhaustion. Aegis interprets her silence as approval.
Then I hereby transfer command authority to you, Mitsuru-san. Regulations state that the member with the lowest serial number is to take command. And since you are member number 1, the official leader of the Security Department Shadow Response Unit, also called the Shadow Operatives.
Tell the whole plane, Aegis.
I had a feeling I wouldn't be able to enjoy this vacation for long.
Traveling with cargo from Ergo Research suggests that her vacation was neither relaxing nor cheerful.
But I can't allow anyone to be hurt again by the things we, the Kirijo group, created. We'll get this cargo back at all costs. Mission or no mission, I'm making it a personal priority.
Understood.
Aegis answers loudly and snaps off the police salute that she's finally gotten the hang of. I am Aegis. My official name is 7th Generation Anti-Shadow Suppression Weapon, or Aegis for short for some reason. As my name implies, I am not human. I am a humanoid weapon, a robot, essentially. Though with the right clothes, a surprising number of people cannot tell the difference. I was created in a research lab owned by one of the world's foremost conglomerates, the Kirijo Group. I was made to exterminate a certain enemy. They are called shadows, monsters born from people's repressed emotions, granted dark life. Shadows can only be defeated by those with the special power of personas. One's persona can be said to be the power to wield the shadow within. They are two sides of the same coin. Though one cannot have a persona if they do not also have a heart. I was given a mind to artificially develop a persona and a body close to that of a human, so that the mind could maintain a personality, a heart designed for battle, a body designed for battle. I did endure some suffering because of my original purpose, but I now have a place where I belong. Somewhere I can make full, beneficial use of my powers. That is the Security Department Shadow Response Unit. Our nickname is the Shadow Operatives, for the third time, in case you missed it. The Shadow Operatives were formed at Mitsuru Kirijo's directive. She is the scion of the Kirijo group, who created me. She has taken responsibility for shadows. Our objective is to identify and resolve incidents involving shadows by eliminating them. All of our members are persona users or have similar qualifications. During operations, our guidelines state that the member with the smallest number has command. The number that I was issued is number 5. Though I am not human, I am treated as a member and not a piece of equipment. Moreover, my number is in the single digits. It's possible that there will be missions like today where I must take command of dangerous operations. In other words, I am recognized as having the same life and dignity as humans. Because Mitsuru-san and the others have such trust in me, I want to repay that trust with results. There is another reason I am working my hardest on this case. Soon after the hijacking was resolved, the stolen cargo was identified. Its contents surprised me. The 5th generation anti-shadow suppression weapon. The unit named Labris. She is one of my sister units. She was sealed over a decade ago for some reason and has been in storage with other artifacts since then. Labris, a humanoid weapon, just like me. It is possible she has a heart. If so, I want to save her before she is misused. This is a mission, but more than that, I feel it is a duty I must carry out. Oh, thank goodness. All right, well, 47 minutes in, and we just finished scene 1. The next day, May 2nd, 2012. I'm not sure if this is Aegis's inner monologue or not. We wanted to pursue the vehicle carrying Labris as soon as the hijacking was over, but its complicated route made it hard to track. Due to the sensitive nature of the cargo, it is difficult to set up large-scale traffic checkpoints. Fortunately, the license plate number was determined quickly, and we got a rough estimate of its destination. Our headquarters was moved to a police facility. Mitsuru-san and our team are sorting out the situation to plan for an operation. I guess it is.
And the interrogation of the suspects?
It's begun, but all of them are claiming that their memories at the time are very foggy, so they've been sent in for evaluation.
I mean, is that voice supposed to be meaningful? Inquiring minds wish to know.
The psychologists who interviewed them think it's possible they're not lying.
Well, I suppose Labris can't really fight unless half her moves are just going to be missing until the end.
So none of the 5 have any memories of what happened during the hijacking.
Normally, that would seem preposterous. There may have been some hypnotic effect, but even then...
We're dealing with someone after materials from Ergo research. They'll likely be very well informed about shadows and the mind. Knowing that, it doesn't seem so strange. It would also explain the extreme lengths they went to create a decoy. What else do we know?
Another team member answers Mitsuru-san's question.
Since the cage storing the 5th generation is too large to transport by personal auto, we narrowed our search to large vehicles that left the airport. That, combined with the testimony from our observer and data from the transmitter, allowed us to pinpoint the vehicle in question. The police are already pursuing it via the N system. This is the most recent photo.
He hands the tablet to Mitsuru-san.
The Inaba area. Wasn't this the place where...
Yes, our routine investigation last year rated the potential shadow activity in the area at level 4.
It seems that the culprit in this case definitely had prior knowledge of shadows after all. If that was true, we must use extreme caution. Many people do not know about shadows, though they are enough of a threat as to possibly destroy the world. Then again, I experienced that for myself 3 years ago. If someone is trying to manipulate them, we must prevent it at all costs.
Let's talk about the stolen 5th generation unit. Aigis, as the 7th generation, would be her younger sister.
A sister. My older sister.
I'd like to know why she was sealed.
5th generation anti-shadow suppression weapon, Labris. The records show her to be the first model fitted with an artificial personality.
In other words, she has a heart?
There's no knowing if it was developed enough to call it that. She seems to have been made to gather test data rather than actual field use.
What are her combat capabilities?
She wasn't given firearms, since her regulatory system was inadequate. So she was instead loaded with some kind of special equipment. Unfortunately, the majority of the records pertaining to her are missing, which means that's the extent of our knowledge.
Special equipment?
We have to remember the special equipment, eh?
We also don't know why she was sealed. Many of the documents regarding the old Ergo research were lost, probably to cover up incriminating evidence. We don't even know what she looks like. All we do know is that she was a life-sized android.
We'll just have to find out along the way.
Mitsuru-san swipes her fingers across the tablet a few times and shows it to an aide.
I'll need these 3 individuals' cooperations. I'd like to join them in the field.
Are you sure about this?
Try not to make a scene when fetching them. Not all of them are part of our organization.
The aide nods his assent and returns to his station. Mitsuru-san then turns her gaze on me.
And Aigis,
Location
frankly, I
confirmed.
think we can assume that
Sending
there'll be
supplies.
combat involved. Will you be all right with that?
Okay, time for dinner. Yep, the actual batch of nice Kit Kats has arrived. However, there are still plenty of the Halloween Kit Kats to get through first. Though Mitsuru-san doesn't say it out loud, I understand what she means. Our highest priority in this operation is to stop the culprit and mitigate any associated danger. Not to rescue Labris. Of course, we will strive to accomplish both, but in the worst-case scenario, we must consider the option of destroying Labris. Destroying a sister unit, it will be a painful experience if she too has a heart.
I thank you for your concern, but I'll be fine. I will do my duty.
Mitsuru-san says nothing more and silently nods.
Well then, once we can confirm our target is headed to Inaba, we'll depart at once.
May 3rd, 2012. As we get ready to depart for Inaba, Mitsuru-san and I go over last-minute details inside the police station. Mitsuru-san is absorbed with issuing instructions over the cell phone she is holding. Pessimism seeps into my heart as I wait. I begin muttering to myself.
Will we be able to find Labris? My sister?
Mitsuru-san's surprised voice makes you realize how unlike me these doubts are.
Will we be able to save her? Isn't that what you really want to ask? Don't worry. As I mentioned to Akihiko, fighting Labris is not our priority. The reason I formed this Shadow Operative team is to save lives.
You know, fighting Labris sure as hell seemed to be his priority at the end of Chie's route.
We will find her, whatever it takes, and bring her back. We can do this.
Yes. I'm sorry to be so pessimistic.
Those feelings you have for Labris, you should tell her when you see her.
Asphincter says what?
I will.
I mean, Akihiko's a little single-minded, but, you know, he was the responsible one, damn it. Friends bound by trust are irreplaceable indeed. I hope that Labris will become one as well. Eventually, the preparations are made and our limousine departs on its journey to Inaba. That evening, we are in Inaba now and traveling down a midtown street. Boy, they got there pretty quick. Though it is called Midtown, it is very different from an urban environment. It is a quiet, rustic road. The vehicle we are targeting is easily discovered. The transmitter that was attached to it when it left from the airport is, lucky for us, still active. But the vehicle has been abandoned and the cargo is gone as well. To trace it further, we must learn why the culprit came here. Specifically, we need to know the details of what happened here last year. Though this was already assumed, so we have a plan. Mitsuru-san orders the driver to park nearby. However, this poses an unexpected problem. Our vehicle is a long, black, 8-door limousine. It stands out badly in this countryside town, no matter where it's parked.
Mitsuru-san, our activities are supposed to be undercover, correct?
You know, this limousine, it's not velvet enough for my taste.
Yes.
For undercover missions, it will be necessary to keep all personnel and vehicles from being noticed.
Right.
Mitsuru-san, may I say something that I've been meaning to say for a while now?
No.
Understood.
All I told them was to give us a car with enough space.
Wherever we go, people peer into the windows out of curiosity. We avoid the public eye as much as possible and finally park in what looks like a site for vehicle disposal outskirts of town. Yeah, dude, be careful not to park there too long.
Our contact has arrived.
Again, that voice is bugging me. I then notice a middle-aged man in a gray suit standing outside of the window. I recognize his face. He's one of the 3 collaborators Mitsuru-san contacted before our departure. I scoot over to the door and open the window.
Oh my! This was not our designated meeting area, yet he has discovered us.
Suddenly, something not unlike astonishment or discouragement appears on his face.
You want to know how I did it?
The cough interrupts us.
We appreciate your cooperation, Detective Kurosawa.
Mitsuru-san gets out of the vehicle and slightly bows. 3 years ago, when we were still fighting shadows in secret, Detective Kurosawa worked as a police officer at a nearby police box. He believed that our intentions were good, and he supplied us with certain conveniences under the table. His job made this risky, but he always acted on behalf of what he believed to be just. He said this many times while supporting us in secret. He is a strong man who always acts on his beliefs. But now, our organization has official government sanction. He can now cooperate with us without it being considered a rebellious act. Kurosawa-san's prior actions have recently been reassessed. He was promoted for his special expertise. I have heard that he's now a plainclothes detective working at the Central Precinct.
Long time no see, miss. And Aegis, was it?
Oh yes, you're the one I sold guns to, right?
Indeed. It has been a while.
Kurosawa-san fixes his eyes on Mitsuru-san and me. It is faintly awkward. We are both dressed for combat, and I am not wearing clothes that camouflage my nature.
Oh, sorry for staring.
My eyes are up here, Kurosawa.
A humanoid weapon. I was skeptical when I heard, but seeing you in person doesn't leave any room for doubt.
I'm sorry that I kept it hidden back then.
I mean, Dojima clearly knows more than he's letting on, but how much more?
It's alright. It would have caused more of a headache if you'd gone around looking like that.
Hearing him say that, I cannot help but smile.
Seeing you laugh like that makes it harder to believe you're a machine.
I mean, if you go for the murder ending, he even covers it up for you.
I shouldn't make you stand while we talk. Please, get in.
Ah, sorry. I haven't seen you in a while, so I had a lot to say.
Yeah, that was a lot, all right. Mitsuru-san asked Kurosawa-san to collect information on the serial murder case that occurred in this town last year. When background research was carried out across Japan at the end of 2011, this region returned high numbers in shadow detection measurements. But although it was investigated, there were no effects apart from slightly unnatural weather. Then again, what if something did happen that was just hard to detect? Mitsuru-san suspected the serial murder case was related to these shadows and asked Kurosawa-san to have the local police force share their reports. We could have requested them directly, but what we wanted would not be the surface information found in the investigation records. There are limits to what an unofficial unit cloaked by authority can do with a direct request.
I found out quite a bit regarding the case you had me look into. First, I reviewed the report on the incidents from last year. One of the suspects mentioned the word persona.
I lock gazes with Mitsuru-san.
So what went on here last year?
It's probably related, but I wasn't done there. Parts of this guy's testimony were even more outlandish. If you can take what's in the record at face value, it seems persona users can enter TVs within the Inaba region.
Enter TVs? What does that mean?
Just what it sounds like. You physically stick your body into the screen and go inside. He claimed there was another world in a TV, and dropping people inside it was the method behind last year's murders.
This all sounds rather absurd. I'm surprised it was included in the police report.
I got in touch with the detective in charge at the time and said the same thing. Apparently the report was filed by a young partner of his at the time. He'd entertained the wildest testimonies like this one.
He sounds like quite the oddball.
If this was what really went on, the police would have had no chance cracking it. But that Detective Dojima is one shrewd guy. Even with all the supernatural hocus-pocus surrounding the case, he caught the culprit.
Kurosawa-san sighs. He seems to be tired.
That's all I have for you right now. I should be going. I doubt either of us has time to reminisce over the old days. It's funny, though. I thought the fighting was over. You guys surprise me every time I see you.
Thank you very much, Officer Kurosawa. Why don't we at least see you off?
Oh, that's all right. I've got my own car. I doubt my department would appreciate your tastes. If I ever showed up for work in something like this, I'd be the talk of the force until the day I retired.
He opens the door himself and exits the vehicle. He gives a short farewell and then leaves without turning back even once.
Mitsuru-san, this could be bad. Our sense of social aptitude is in question.
Can't deny that.
What should we do now?
Yes. First, we'll need to test the claim that Persona users can enter TVs.
Hearing this reminds me of something. Looking around the area again, although I had called it a vehicle disposal site, there are also household electronics such as refrigerators discarded here. Now remember, children watching at home, even if you are a Persona user, do not enter the refrigerators. In the corner is a stack of TVs.
There is a discarded TV over there. If the environment does not matter, we can use it to test the phenomenon.
I voluntarily get out of the vehicle.
Wait, Igus.
Oh, it's an illegal dump, is it?
Don't worry. I'm just going to touch it.
I extend my right hand and touch the screen of the biggest TV I see. My fingers brush the glass screen, but although I seem to be touching it, I feel no resistance from its surface. I push my hand forward a little more. A weak light runs across the screen, and my forearm sinks into it.
Amazing!
Rings of light spread from the contact of my arm, rippling like water across a pond.
Interesting. It's exactly as the police report said. What's it like inside? Do you feel anything?
Not particularly. No. Wait a moment.
My sensor detects a sensation I've never felt before. But the knowledge of what it is already recorded within me.
It's the same as mine. It's hard to say definitively since this is my first encounter with it, but I believe this reading is from a personality module.
Does that mean our retrieval target is inside the TV?
Huh. Sounds like fun.
I hear a voice come from an unexpected direction. Mitsuru-san and I look towards it. What we see is a silhouette wearing a low hood that covers his eyes and a tattered cape billowing in the wind, like a figure from a western. He is standing atop a mountain of trash with his arms crossed.
Is that Akihiko?
He jumps down nimbly and walks towards us.
You didn't show up at the rendezvous point, so I went looking and found you here. This whole TV thing is pretty interesting.
I would never forget the man laughing so fearlessly. Like Mitsuru-san, he is a friend I once fought alongside, Akihiko Sanada. He was a student boxing champion in his school days and a staunch ally, powerful even without his persona. He is also our second collaborator on this case.
It's been a while, Akihiko-san.
Yeah, good seeing you.
Akihiko, what on earth are you wearing? Just what were you doing overseas?
Well, didn't I tell you that I was on a training expedition?
Don't tell me you came here from the airport like that. Does the concept of keeping a low profile mean nothing to you?
Mitsuru-san, I believe we have lost the right to complain about that.
Mitsuru-san sighs in annoyance. Oh yes, Akihiko-san was on a training expedition overseas until this morning. He just said that. As a result, his appearance is slightly, no, very different from the last time I saw him. But his aggressive personality and love of a challenge seem to be the same as always. He gives a cocky smile and smacks his palm with his fist.
Anyway, we can get inside from that TV, right? And what are we waiting for?
Still the same Akihiko. We don't know the situation inside yet, and we'll need a secure means of getting out.
So what? If we want to get this Labrys back, someone has to go inside, right?
Well, that's...
Our target hijacked a plane to throw her into a TV in this town. If we sit on our hands, it's possible we'll be put in serious danger.
Akihiko-san steps forward towards Mitsuru-san as if pressing her.
We're different from how we used to be. We made the choice to fight shadows as professionals. That's why I traveled around the world and trained harder than ever. And now that something's actually come up, you're hesitating? We agreed to do this. I'm ready to stake my life on the mission.
Akihiko-san's opinion is a bit strong, but he's not incorrect. It's probable that Akihiko-san understands that being slightly forceful is his role. Because Mitsuru-san takes caution seriously as the ultimate authority in this case, she frequently second-guesses herself. I have seen Akihiko-san's words cut through her hesitation in the past. It shows his trust in Mitsuru-san not to make decisions in error.
All right. Wait right here. I need to go make a phone call first.
Okay, but make it quick.
The other members will wait here in the car.
Yeah. If we all barge in and something happens, we'll be devastated.
Now that you mention it, at least one of us should be staying behind as well.
I am not staying.
Us three will be plenty. We'll end this in a flash. No problem.
The same as always. Although, we have no idea what might be waiting for us on the other side. Don't get careless.
Right.
This situation, it brings back memories.
Oh, so you have time to reminisce.
Ready!
Why enter the TV? What's going on?
I am surrounded by a white light that strains most of my sensors to their limits. A portion of my sensors indicate that I am currently in a state similar to freefall. I can't tell up and down from left and right. This continues for a while. Eventually, my functions slowly recover. I find myself inside an unknown room, sitting with one knee up. I quickly stand and check my surroundings.
Is this the music room of a school?
I can see a music stand, a grand piano, a blackboard, and portraits. There's an air of over-exaggerated theatrics to it, but I may not be far from the truth. And is this the world inside the TV? After the surreality of entering a TV screen, this comes as quite a surprise.
No sign of Mitsuru-san or Akihiko-san. Did they land elsewhere? So much noise. I can't contact anyone like this.
I attempt to use my communicator, but there is no response. This looks like an ordinary classroom, but it has an alarming amount of radio interference. When I concentrate my senses again, I detect a bizarre disturbance from the entire area that is unlike normal buildings. This may be another world after all. In any case, I must join up with Mitsuru-san and Akihiko-san. But just as I begin to make plans to do so, the monitor hanging from the ceiling switches on. What appears on it is... how to describe it? A bizarre figure that looks like a living costume.
I spy an unknown yet bewitching babe. How unexpected!
Oh, somebody needs to reboot Teddy. Its comical tone does not last long before the voice becomes distorted and the image disappears. It reminded me of a malfunctioning machine. I stare at the monitor. I have a hunch that it will return soon. Just as I thought, the costume reappears. But its behavior is very different now.
Case 04, unintended intruder. Entering elimination process.
Its mechanical sounding voice is completely different from the joking tone it had before. And that phrase, elimination process. It seems that a battle will be starting. I release the safeties from the weapons built into my body. And that's when a large noise comes from behind me. A young man in a school uniform comes rolling in with a yell.
A human?
Now! Jeez, this Decide to open right then. This makes no damn sense.
I thought that I was ready for any eventuality, but I had not expected to suddenly encounter a human.
Are you all right? You seem to be unharmed.
The young man looks back at me with a steely gaze while fixing his bleached hair with his fingers. His behavior does not seem to be that of one who came in pursuit of me.
What? Never seen you before.
I'm sorry, I haven't introduced myself. My name is Aegis.
Only then do I remember that my appearance would seem very peculiar to a casual observer.
I'm a transfer student. I have blue eyes, blonde hair, a Gatling cannon.
Huh?
I'm sorry, forget what I said. In the past, that prepared explanation for students has been effective, but no longer.
Okay. Anyways, I'm Kanji Tatsumi. This mean you're my next opponent?
Opponent? What do you mean?
What do I mean? I'm talking about a scrap!
You mean a fight? But we have only met Tatsumi-san. Actually, where are we?
Enough blabbering, you machine!
With a yell, he slams the folding chair in his hand on the ground. The cold, dull, metallic sound echoes and eliminates any possibility for talking this over.
What's a fake girl like you doing calling me by my name?
I go quiet. A fake girl. I understand how I might elicit such a reaction, but there is pain in my chest. Though I cannot help but smile at how instinctively I reacted that way. It seems I've become more human-like than I knew.
I was worried I might have to go up against my senpai, but I ain't gonna hold back against a robot like you.
Thinking with a calm mind, I noticed a small incongruity in his attitude. When he first saw me, he seemed unsure and claimed that he had not seen me before. Yet though he knows now that I am Machine, he doesn't seem particularly surprised. Are those two things contradictory? I focus my senses once more and enhance the gain on my sensors. I detect a faint interference. Because it had appeared uniformly across all my sensors, I hadn't been aware of it. What is this?
If you're not gonna do anything, I'll make the first move! Ah! Take Mikazuchi!
A persona?
Light flickers intermittently. Could that be electricity? Oh shit, I guess you're weak to electricity. A thick barrel-like arm charged with voltage approaches from above. I jump back and narrowly escape a crushing blow. You know what would be so much better than this is like having a fight, right?
Nice dodge. Looks like you got at least a little bit of fight in you.
A persona user. I was careless. I should have expected that possibility since I encountered him inside the TV. I do not know the procedure for attacking a human, but if he's a persona user, I must defend myself with the usual armaments.
There is no avoiding this fight. I cannot fall here.
Yeah, it only took an hour and 18 minutes.
Finally!
Kanji Tatsumi here and
Oh.
Athena! That one hit home!
It's nothing!
Athena! Excited! Persona dominate! Go first! Such an intense first! We head down the clock! So excited battle! Athena! Damage! Severe damage! Awaken our failure! The table!
The blood-curdling beefcake emperor, Kanji Tatsumi! Uh-oh.
Scissor sledge! Go! Go! Maximum speed! Match! Athena! Here, Athena! Has the battle been decided? Charging! Now!
thank you for the fanfare. I need to learn some moves. I'm just gonna be wiped out next fight
Are you
otherwise.
alright, Tatsumi-san?
I helped Tatsumi-san off the ground and called to him. After repeating myself several times, I hear a groan.
No! Damn it! Ow! Oh, whoa! Hands off!
I'm sorry. If you can't stand, then I'll carry you.
I pick up Tatsumi-san, who is still lying down with both arms.
Whoa! Damn! You're a hell of a lot stronger than you look. Whoa, 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 whoa! How come you're carrying me like this? Like a bride or something?
This is the spousal method of carrying.
No, it ain't. It's the bridal... Oh, wait a sec. Are they pretty much the same thing?
Tatsumi-san, you seem completely fine.
That's what I've been saying! Well, stop with the Tatsumi-san crap. It's making my skin crawl. Just call me Kanji.
You don't object to being called that? I'm an artificial person, after all.
Huh? Who cares? If I say it's fine, then it's fine. And will you put me down already?
When I put Kanji-san down as requested, he turns his back and repeatedly scratches his head. I feel as if his demeanor has changed compared to how it was before the fight. His loud voice and rough words are the same, but the sense that he will not listen to a word I say is gone. I feel that I can make myself understood now.
Well then, Kanji-san, allow me to ask again. Where are we? And what did you mean by opponent?
Huh? You're not an enemy that Ted set up for me?
Ted. Are you referring to the bear who appeared on the monitor?
This is a fighting tournament. Only the winners get to keep going. I lost this time. But oh well. I wouldn't make it in the big leagues.
That sounds like something Akihiko-san would say.
Huh?
Sorry, I was just talking to myself.
Gotta say, you pack one hell of a punch. Got me real good.
Punch? But I didn't throw any punches.
Listen though, the rest of this tournament ain't gonna be so easy. My senpai are waiting up ahead.
There are more people here. Could you estimate how many?
Kanji-san smiles dauntlessly and gives me a thumbs up. I don't really understand why, but I give him a thumbs up as well. Good job. Then Kanji-san kneels over. I rush in to catch him. When I look into his face, it is still smirking, but he is passed out. It seems like he was fighting through his fatigue for the sake of his pride. He doesn't seem injured, so I carefully set him back down on the floor. Suddenly, that costume... Kanji-san called it Ted. Not Teddy, he said Ted. Appears again on the monitor.
Intruders are persona users. Due to difficulties in elimination, they will be acknowledged as valid targets.
It's using that mechanical tone of voice again. The intruders must be me and the others. Since I won't be easy to eliminate, it appears that he's changing tactics. But what could he mean by valid targets? The monitor screen turns off once again. Just like before, it flickers back on after a few seconds. It's the same face as before, but a completely different attitude.
Woohoo! What a fox! Keen to join in on our fun? I'm A-okay with that if you're up for a little fighting. I'll wait for you in the next arena up ahead.
This is more how he sounded at the beginning. He's gone back to normal, or at least recovered from the abnormality.
Oh, silly me. If you're cutting in, you don't know who I am. I am General Teddy. Remember that name well.
General Teddy. Apparently, he really is a teddy bear. He doesn't seem like one, but a number of things he said caught my attention. Joining in on our fun and arena. These are in line with the tournament Kanji-san mentioned. Is this tournament being held here? But the monitor is silent once again and does not return. Well, Teddy doesn't return, the monitor's still there. I do not think I will make any progress if I remain here. I poked my head through the door where Kanji-san appeared to check my surroundings. What looked like a school hallway leads straight ahead. There appears to be no danger nearby. I managed to hoist Kanji-san's body over my shoulder and try to leave the room.
What?
But something gets stuck and prevents me from proceeding. I stop and check, but I cannot see any obstructions. Both of the sliding doors fell off when Kanji-san came in, and the way is completely open. It should be wide enough for me to pass through easily, even with a person on my shoulder. Yet I cannot proceed. Something is getting stuck. I slow my walking speed and check to see what part of me is getting caught. That is how I discover something surprising. Nothing is blocking the way, yet only Kanji-san's body cannot pass through the door. It seems there is an invisible wall, one that is selective and prevents only Kanji-san's passage between the room and the hallway. Something Kanji-san said comes back to me. Only the winners get to keep going. Is that what he meant? I increase the sensitivity of my various sensors, but I cannot detect any wall here. I have no way of destroying what I cannot touch. Which means I have no choice but to leave Kanji-san here.
Oh well. I will come back for you later. Please stay safe until then.
Once he comes around, he's still a Persona user. It's not as if I'm leaving someone behind who can't fend for himself. I reluctantly convince myself to move on. While moving down the hallway, my sensors continue to pick up disturbances from everything in the school. It all looks so normal, though. Yeah, that totally looks normal. There's a line of glass windows on the wall. Outside is a field level with the ground I am walking on. I seem to be on the first floor of the building. Eventually, I reach a doorway and cautiously venture outside. There's barely any difference in temperature or atmospheric composition compared to the real world. But the lack of wind is unnatural, and there are other discrepancies between here and there. I turn around and inspect the building's exterior. This is indeed a school. I walk along the wall and go around the building. Soon I reach what seems to be the main gate. Turn toward the school building once again, and come to a realization.
I recognize this place.
I have seen a photo from this angle in the preparation materials. As I recall, this is a high school in Inaba. To make sure, I step past the school gate and check the nameplate. The name engraved on the gate's pillar is Yasugami High School. I cross-reference the name with a map of the area and find a match. This is confusing. A real-world location has been completely recreated inside the TV? Why is it structured like nesting boxes? Just then, I sense something move in the corner of my vision. I quickly turn and view it from the front. It is a uniformed girl. She is running straight through, in the opposite direction of the field. Is she a student? No. This is not a real school. Could she be one of the senpai Kanji-san spoke of? But a moment's thought highlights an unimportant detail.
Location confirmed. Sending supplies.
Her pale skin and hair color.
That's...
There can be no mistake. It is the girl I saw for a moment at the airport after the hijacking. I immediately chase after her. But the girl is much faster than I anticipate, and I cannot close the distance. I release a portion of my foot speed limiters and finally get close. Until I am able to eat a Kit Kat. Thank you, sir. Oh, no, Goblin! He showed up! Oh, thank you, Goblin. Oh no. I mean, are you personally hurt? Oh, thank goodness you'll still be able to get around and get to work then. Still though, that's shitty. Until I am unable... Blah. Let's try that one again. Until I am able to grasp her right arm from behind.
Huh?
The girl stops and turns around. There is surprise on her face, but she stares in wide-eyed wonder at my form. Though I am surprised myself. The instant I take her hand, a flash of intuition charges through me like electricity. This girl is Labrys. I am unaccountably convinced.
Who are you? That's one funny-looking costume you've got on.
Oh, well,
Oh, of course. You're mixed up in this racket too, aren't you?
Of course it was uninsured. Yeah, it seems to be the only people who smash into other cars are uninsured drivers. Racket? Does she mean the tournament?
no, I am not in this tournament of my own free will.
Really? Then you mind letting me go? I'm the student council president. I can't be letting people run wild at this school.
Student council president?
Didn't I tell you to let me go? Are you trying to get in the way of my work here?
The girl looks at me with an irritated expression. How strange. She speaks as if she really is leading an ordinary life here at school. If she was aware that she's inside the TV, would she say such things to me?
If you happen to know, could you please tell me what sort of place this is?
A high school.
Huh? It's the first floor of the classroom building. Can't you tell?
Huh? Is it possible that you don't recall entering a TV?
A TV? Listen, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm kind of in a hurry here. Can I go now?
I don't know, can you?
Before you do, please tell me something. Who are you?
Who? What'd you stop me for if you didn't even know? I just told you. I'm the student council president. What hole have you been hiding in? The elections were just last week.
I mean, Labrys is looking at Aegis, but Aegis is like staring right out at the player. It's kind of creepy. Like, it follows me around.
Are we done now? 'Cause I got places to be.
The girl ends the conversation sternly, shakes off my hand, and runs away again. In an instant, she has disappeared into the school building.
Please, wait!
Location confirmed. Sending supplies.
Oh, here it comes. Another Kit Kat. Honestly, I'm getting so much more action from these Kit Kats than I am from the game. Thank you, Goblin. I go after her, but just as I enter the hallway and round the first bend, something blocks my path. But I can't see what it is at all. I can't see it. Yet when I reach out my hand, I can feel it. I think I know what this is. It's love!
That wall again!
The invisible wall that prevented Kanji-san's passage. It's most likely the same thing. Once again, I am surprised. I can touch it, yet my sensors detect nothing. And it's much stronger than I had imagined. It repels even gunfire, let alone physical strikes. I attempted various methods to destroy it, but before I can, the girl disappears from view.
It seems I am forced to try a different route.
I consider the situation once more. Was that girl truly Labrys? There are too many factors now indicating otherwise. Her appearance and the feel of her arm when I grasped it a moment ago. Both are strong signs that she is human. If she is entirely artificial, then she could not be part of an older generation of models than myself. Her speaking voice and behavior were both also indicative of known human patterns. According to the records of Labrys' development, she was sealed away soon after. Even I stumble with natural human speech. She could not have become so proficient in so short a time. She's not a machine, but a human, so she cannot be Labrys. Usually I would not hesitate to make such a judgment based on the available data. Yet I still cannot shake the feeling that she may be Labrys. That intuition I felt earlier, what caused it? This case remains murky. I feel as if my senses are being muffled by a thin cloth. But I cannot leave her be. Even if she is not Labrys, that fact itself means that she's in danger. I quickly looked for an alternate route. Alright, we're picking up the pace here. The scenes are getting shorter. I backtracked the way I came and ran outside. Suddenly, I am enveloped in a tidal wave of sound. These are human voices. The cheering comes from an enormous crowd. I turn around and a thick mass of people runs towards me out of nowhere. There are boys and girls in school uniforms. It was clear that everyone is looking at me.
This is impossible.
How did I fail to detect so many humans? But then I notice it. There's white noise running through all my sensors. It is the same feeling that I had before fighting Kanji-san. What is this? As I stand in thought, the students close in on me. I ask what business they have with me, but the uproar drowns out my voice. I cannot attack them, so I have no choice but to edge backwards. Soon, my back is against a wall. I looked around for an escape route. Luckily, there was a door beside me. I hurry inside to find shelter. The room I have entered appears to be spacious. It is dark here, but I believe it is the gymnasium. Here and there, folding chairs and gym equipment are piled in heaps. It looks like the result of some strange ritual. Suddenly, a light shines in the corner. Upon close inspection, I can see a monitor showing something. It is airing some familiar faces.
Rivals. They are...
Well, one
friends,
familiar face anyway.
Yet powerful foes. The desperate fighting program amongst high school students. A new legend is about to start.
Boy, light novel names are really getting long.
May the manliest of all men come on down!
Nobody touches his precious Nanako, the sister complex kingpin of steel, Yu Narukami!
It's only natural.
Wage slave in the boonies by day, hero by night, Captain Resentiment, Yosuke Hanamura!
They're really getting their money out of this cinematic.
A spunky dragon with deadly legs, the carnivore who's discarded womanhood, Chie Satonaka!
You need to eat more meat!
No, I need to eat more
Escorting
Kit
to the
Kats.
Ringlight Prince, the unconquerable Snow Black, Yukiko Amagi!
Thanks again,
Finish
Goblin.
you in one strike!
Blooming roses and bulging muscles, the blood-curdling beefcake emperor, Kanji Tatsumi! Deep into realms of romance, the body of a child, the brain of a genius, the 2000 IQ killjoy detective, Naoto Shirogane!
Is this an army of idiots?
Fight and survive towards the one throne waiting at the end! The P1 Grand Prix where fierce fights will be fought! The battle begins tonight!
I mean, none of them are Elizabeth. I'm not sure what to say about that video. It seems to be modeled after promotional videos for martial arts tournaments. I noticed appearances by Kanji-san and the host, General Teddy. The other people shown must also be participants. It is safe to assume they were all Persona users. As if watching my reactions from somewhere, General Teddy appears on the monitor, replacing the video.
Looks like you're officially getting in on the action. Welcome! Look, everyone, another challenger!
Here comes a new challenger! Without warning, there's a loud sound. All the doors in every direction open at once. Excited students pour in, cheering and yelling. Before I know it, I'm surrounded by people with no means of escape. General Teddy grins at my situation and raises his stubby arm.
Well then, bring out the next opponent!
Yes, bring out the dead. A spotlight shines on a spot where the crowd parts. A female student can be seen. She has short hair and wears a sweatshirt. She looks very athletic. I recognize her face from the video. Her name was Chie Satonaka. She steps in front of me, bouncing from foot to foot.
I heard that you're elbowing in on the tournament. Suits me fine. Let's do this!
Oh, I suppose it makes sense to have Chie in the gym rather than Yukiko. As she finishes her speech, she takes a fighting stance. Just then, a gleaming silhouette appears behind her. It is another Persona. Chie-san extends her palm facing up and motions with her fingers, taunting me.
Ooh, she's ready and raring to go!
This is strange. Chie-san's willingness to fight is odd enough, but even stranger are the students in the crowd. Even when seeing her persona up close, they show no signs of alarm. Come to think of it, how'd they get here? I cannot believe they were all Persona users. But even if they were, would they be excited over such brutality? While stuck in a mysterious world filled with potential dangers? That does not seem likely. Perhaps my basic assumptions are faulty. Could they, like these buildings, be unreal? I cannot jump to conclusions, but I decide to take the offensive. I turn to the monitor. General Teddy is bouncing up and down gleefully.
I will fight on one condition.
Which is...
Interesting. He answered me. I can hold a conversation with him, which means he can see and hear me.
That you immediately release all these students from this school, or rather from this world. If you do that, I will fight as you wish.
Tut tut! Are you making demands to me? Before you get too worried about other people, why not worry about yourself?
I will not fight unless you guarantee their safety.
I glare at General Teddy through the monitor. I didn't want to involve these students, but I have an idea.
Sheesh! What a stubborn girl!
He snaps his stubby fingers. The room instantly fills with light. This appears to be the opposite of filling with light. I ward myself against it by covering my eyes. A few seconds later, the brightness fades to normal. As my eyes adjust, I see the students have vanished.
Ta-da! Is that what you wanted?
The general smiles proudly. My guess was correct. If the students were fake, it is easier for him to remove them than to talk me into fighting. As a result, my sensors detect the movement when the students disappear all at once. The only human here is Chie-san, right in front of me. Looking around, it seems that not everything disappeared. Human-like figures remain, as if the shadows of the students were burned into the scenery. There are several about the gymnasium. Their readings are similar to shadows, but they show no sign of hostility. So these are the true forms of those students. They have been unmasked.
Honestly, you're in no position to be making demands, you know. I'm making an exception just this once, because it's no fun if you don't both go at it tooth and claw. Even if you don't resist, your opponent will show no mercy. It'll be a grisly sight.
Come on! Even if the crowd was still here, would you not have hit back when I hit you?
No. The safety of the people must be prioritized above all else.
Ha! That's pretty cool of you, actually. But self-sacrifice doesn't mean much coming from a machine. They can just fix you right up. Oh, that's right. It doesn't even count as self-sacrifice for a machine. It's just what you're programmed to do. You probably don't feel pain or anything, huh? It just seemed that way because you look human.
Now, like, if this was Star Trek, Chie would be like talking Aegis into a paradox and she'd just explode.
You may not understand, but I can sense pain as well.
Really? That's such a weird thing to program into a weapon. Doesn't make any sense to me.
That's...
Yeah, Chie, you seem to get a real thrill out of slaughtering the enemy. As I struggle to answer, Chie-san smiles wide.
Well, that's fine with me. Means I can fight you without pulling any punches.
Her smile disappears and her eyes spark with fire as she launches herself at me. I would rather not fight her, but she is a persona user. I clench my teeth and make myself ready to intercept her.
If I must fight you, then I will.
Alrighty.
Finally!
Okay. Quick check here. A lot of quarter turns. Oh, we do have a dial mode. Interesting.
They're going crazy on the offensive.
Need to do better than that. Boy, that fanfare sure likes you, Silver.
Oh, sheesh. Wow. You're definitely a pro when it comes to fighting.
I'm sorry. Are you all right?
Yeah. But boy, I didn't stand a chance against you. Hey, what's all this about you being a robot?
She's upset by her loss, but she seems cheerful. She didn't show this open-mindedness before the fight. Perhaps, as with Kanji-san, I could make peace with her by... No, it is vain of me to think that it is possible. No, pardon me a minute. Her words echo in my mind. It doesn't even count as self-sacrifice for a machine. It's just what you're programmed to do. I hate to admit it, but her observation is correct.
I may seem like a ridiculous machine to you, but I'm still...
Huh? I never said that.
Now, why would you want to activate the cat cam? What possible reason could you have for this? Oh, let's find... Look at Snowy.
Wait. You're not acting like you did before the fight. I'm surprised that you're a robot, but what gives?
Chie-san looks stupefied. Her expression confuses me as well. She stated it clearly, yet she doesn't remember? Then something hit me. It was also Chie-san, no? Didn't things go similarly with Kanji-san as well? Okay. Can we attach this to the cardboard box? Kind of. There we go. Could it be that something was done to the participants? No. I should avoid drawing conclusions based solely on speculation. Besides, there is something I must do first.
That reminds me. I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Aigis.
Oh, I already saw your name. It was, you know, on the status bar there, next to your hit points.
Looks like we let our fists say too much before we opened our mouths.
I saw the introductory video. You're Chie Satonaka, correct?
Yep. Oh, you can just call me Chie.
A carnivore who's discarded womanhood.
Okay, you didn't need to bring that part up, and I didn't discard anything. I can use a persona, but I'm just an ordinary high school student. I go to Yasugami High.
Yep. You know, I think Chie finally understands what it's like to be kanji.
So anyways, are you, seriously a machine? No foolin'?
Yes. I was created as a weapon for a certain purpose. It may be difficult to explain to you.
Nah, I can tell from the fight you're telling the truth. Huh, so you're not cosplaying. Then again, it'd be pretty nuts for someone to come out here to cosplay.
Speaking of which, Chie-san, can you tell me what this place, this world, is? I confess that I am looking for someone. While pursuing them, I heard the rumor about going inside TVs, and ended up here.
Oh, right. You can use a persona. That's how you got into the TV. Where should I start? I don't know exactly how it works, but this place is supposedly a realm formed by human thought.
By thought? Does that mean this is someone's mental landscape?
I guess so.
Then we've physically entered a mental world? Through a TV, no less? How can this be?
To tell the truth, I never understood it so well myself. There was this insane monster thing around town up until early spring. It created this whole world, and I got my persona because of what happened in here.
Chie-san folds her arms with a troubled look on her face.
Come to think of it, all this stuff should have been over and done with. But you see that ad showing on the monitor over there? It suddenly started getting shown on TV in reality. There's no way we were gonna stand for that crap to be shown. So that's why me and my friends came in here to put a stop to it.
Your friends are here as well?
Yeah, a couple. Also, that Teddy guy who's hosting this, plus the girl Rise who's serving as commentator. They're my friends too.
Oh, I just hasn't seen Rise yet.
But they're acting so weird.
She lets out a sigh.
Oh, sorry, listen to me, babbling away. Do you think you can find this person you're looking for? Actually, could whoever it is get in here? I don't think normal people can enter the TV.
To tell you the truth, I have already encountered one such person, but...
I tell her about the girl I saw. I give her all the details that I can remember. I recall that she called herself the Student Council President. She did not seem aware that she was inside the TV.
Oh, you mean the girl who was calling herself the Student Council President? Yeah, I saw her too.
Was the microphone able to pick up that purring? Going to be spending more time playing with the camera than actually playing the game, I fear.
She was yelling into a bullhorn to stop this foolishness, but then she ran off saying she was gonna go talk to the tournament's host.
She was wearing the same skirt that you are, Chie-san. It seems to be part of a uniform. Are you acquainted with her?
No, I don't know her. It's funny, that girl said she was elected last week. But if I remember right, our student council president was a guy.
I have many doubts about her. I must meet her again and figure her out.
Thank you. I now have a better understanding of the situation. Well then, I should be going now. I would like it if you could come along, but...
I know, I can't leave here, right? I'll stay put for now.
I will come back for you later. You may find it hard to trust me, but...
No, I believe you.
Chie-san replies unhesitatingly.
I've been through so much over this past year that I'm pretty confident I can read people. Honestly, though, what other choice do I have? If you run into any of my friends, tell them I'm okay.
You're not getting it without a redemption, Silver.
I will.
After wiping the dust from her right hand with her sleeve, Chie-san extends it to me.
Aige-san, right? So, if this was some fighting manga, we'd beat the tar out of each other, then shake hands in the end as best friends. A powerful enemy can become a powerful friend, you know?
I clasp her hand. She smiled in embarrassment.
Friendship can do amazing things. I saw that for myself last year. And you and I can be friends too, so, you don't need to talk like you're just an object.
That was easy.
Chie-san.
Don't look at me like that. You're embarrassing me. Come on, get going. Go! Hurry!
Yes, I'll see you later.
Energized by Chie-san's words, I run towards the entrance. I turn around and wave to Chie-san. There's more at stake than Labrys. I must protect these people. I swear a vow to myself and leave. As I exit the gymnasium, I remain cautious while running down the hallway. Somehow, the gymnasium is connected to a hallway on the second floor. Suddenly, I pick up a response to my transmitter, which has been silent until now. I stop and focus on picking up the signal.
Guess you hear... Can you hear me, I guess?
The staticky transmission soon becomes clear. It is a voice I recognize very well.
Mitsuru-san?
Good. It seems you're all right, too.
No. There we go.
It's been quite a while since I last used my persona in this manner. To think it would be useful in a place like this.
Is Akihiko-san with you?
No, we were separated, but I can still sense him. I doubt he'll be defeated that easily.
She is speaking out of carelessness, but not out of carelessness, but trust. I know, because I feel the same.
I'm sure you're aware by now, but although we came in search of Labrys, we appear to have been dragged into another incident. Don't worry about meeting up for now. Under the present conditions, we'd only end up fighting amongst ourselves.
Understood.
I don't know how Labrys ties into this situation yet, but be careful.
Before I can answer, the static grows louder and the transmission ends. Knowing that Mitsuru-san and Akihiko-san are okay gives me room to breathe. The invisible walls are everywhere along the hallways, forcing me down a particular path. I follow the route. Soon enough, I can see the shoe lockers ahead. It seems I am back at the entrance. When I reach the entrance, the monitor nearby turns on as if it were waiting for me. As usual, it is General Teddy. I took a defensive stance. This appears to be the arena for my next battle.
You're pretty good for a latecomer.
The instant General Teddy appears on the TV, my sensors pick up that noise again. My suspicion turns into certainty. General Teddy is doing something before the matches. Whatever it is makes the opponent belligerent or something similar. I can assume that neither Kanji-san or Chie-san were acting like themselves before the battle. That would explain why none of our stories were consistent afterwards.
Well then, bring out the next opponent!
I hear light footsteps. A young man wearing his hat low arrives.
Naturally, of the three of you, you're the one I encounter first.
He shrugs his shoulders and pulls the brim lower. This boy was also in the promotional video. His name was Naoto Shirogane. I bring myself to high alert. He said 3 of us.
You know about us?
On hearing my question, he smiles cynically.
Did Mitsuru Kiwijo not inform you? I don't merely know about you. I was there at the airport. The Kiwijo group seems rather lax for a multinational corporation, allowing a machine to act autonomously and take command. To be frank, watching you fills me with pity. Perhaps the kindest thing to do would be to give you a merciful end.
Pity?
Your existence is inherently a deception, isn't it? You're a machine, and a weapon on top of that. Yet you look human. Those who meet you think you're human. You even seem to believe it yourself. Truly pitiful.
I have no answer to this. As much as I don't want to believe it, it's all true.
You were built to consider yourself human in order to activate the ability to wield a persona. Your appearance and your heart are only prerequisites for that power. I'm sure you've realized it already. You will never find the means to cross the gap between the human heart and your mechanical frame. No matter how much you want love, you'll never earn it. At best, people grow fond of you.
He sounds as if he knows for certain. I hang my head in spite of myself.
The more I consider the matter, the more I genuinely pity you. I'd best hurry up and put an end to your pathetic life.
Naoto-san draws his gun. Because my eyes are lowered, I am slow to react. I already knew that we had to fight, and yet I curse my carelessness and quickly stand back up. You'd think if anybody would pick up on, Naoto's disguise, it would be, Aigis would know better.
Finally!
I don't think so.
Okay.
Whatever the heck Naoto's mid-air attacks were, they have way too much startup time. Like, she is just wide open. Naoto-san slowly gets up. She's staggering and still slightly dizzy. I watch carefully for any change in her behavior. But I am surprised what I hear next.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Well, I think so, Naoto, but where are we going to find a rubber duck in that size?
The mastermind behind this tournament may have some means of fogging our senses. Were you suspecting that as well?
Yes.
Seeing me nod, Naoto-san smiles.
Then we are in agreement. Its aim appears to be to make friends fight one another, though it's a mystery to me as to why it would do such a thing.
Naoto-san brushes some dust off and walks towards me.
But the battle is over and the interference has been lifted. Given past examples, the pattern is clear.
Oh, Ghost Rider will love to hear that.
How about it? Why don't we talk things over?
I have no objections. Naoto-san seems to understand everything. I nod my head, relieved.
I am Naoto Shirogane. I work as a detective. I agreed to act as an observer for the police regarding the special cargo, met with Kirijo-san beforehand, and accompanied her to the airport.
So that's how you knew about us. I recall seeing you in the introductory video along with the other competitors.
They're good friends of mine. I attend Yasogami High, the same school as them.
I see. So after you finished your business and returned to your hometown, that video appeared on TV. Is that correct?
That's right. At least that's what I should say if I wanted to feign innocence.
What?
The real reason I came here is because I was tailing you. It was for a secret investigation.
For who?
Naturally, I cannot reveal my client or what their aims are, but I'm sure you have your own secrets to keep. What do you think? As long as we're in the same boat, why not cooperate?
I become tense when she mentions her secret investigation, but that is not important right now.
I see. It would not be wise to continue to stand in each other's way in this situation.
I accept Naoto-san's hand and we shake.
How much do you know about this world?
Your friend told me it's a realm formed by human thought. In which case, why a school?
This place varies according to people's mental state. When someone enters it directly, they have a much stronger effect on it. For a normal person with no persona-based resistances, a dangerous situation will arise where their shadow goes berserk. That happened frequently in the case I was involved with last year. This false school may have something to do with it.
I consider Labrys. According to her specifications, she should be able to use a persona, but did this come from her mind? Why a school? And why Yasogami High School of all places? She has no prior knowledge of this place. She has never even visited Inaba. But if that girl is Labrys, she undoubtedly has a heart. It is possible that something like what Naoto-san suggested could happen.
I assume you have a theory already?
Yes. Thank you very much. I believe I'm slowly starting to understand what's going on.
I look down the path ahead. But before I go, I turn and ask Naoto-san a question.
Would you mind telling me something? Why did you tell me about your secret agenda?
I suppose because it wouldn't be fair otherwise.
A wry smile appears over Naoto-san's face.
Given that I cannot leave here and must trust my friend's fate to you, it would be unfair to continue deceiving you. But not only that, you carry out your duties with little care for your true appearance. You and I are not on equal grounds there.
My true appearance?
Consider it a sign of my respect for that. I still seem to have a soft spot.
Naoto-san's smile fades and she looks at me solemnly.
Aiga-san, I ask only one thing of you. Please save my friends.
That is my intention.
Thank you. I'll wait here, secure in knowing that.
We nod to each other. Chie-san, Kanji-san, and Naoto-san are all so different, but they are connected by a strong bond. Knowing that fills my heart with warmth.
I am curious, though. When you refer to your true appearance, do you mean the fact that you are a woman?
I mean, your narration did not support that conclusion, I guess.
What?
Am I mistaken?
Oh,
Well,
Your clothing hides it, but my sensor scan shows the body measurements of a human with female proportions.
See, that's exactly what I was saying earlier.
what do you mean? How much can you see?
Oh dear. Suddenly, Naoto-san loses all of her composure and turns red as she covers her chest with her arms. What happened? I don't think I said anything to warrant such a reaction. Just then, General Teddy interrupts over the monitor.
Hey, enough with the chit-chat! Hurry up and move on to the next!
Would you like to know your current measurements? From top to bottom, they are...
That's quite all right.
Never mind, little old me. Please finish that line of thought. I demand it!
How did we get so off subject? If you're going to go, please hurry and leave.
She yelled at me. I must have said something rude. That still happens every so often. An innocuous remark can greatly upset someone. I must keep practicing. I climbed the stairway and noticed a silhouette in one of the classrooms. Looking carefully, it could be that student council president's Labris. I'll be relieved if I caught up to her so soon. But the hand I raised to knock on the door inadvertently stops. Wait, could she be my next opponent? She wasn't in the promotional video, but neither was I, yet I am being forced to fight in the Grand Prix. But there's no point in worrying about that now. I cannot change the path I take, nor the opponent I must face. I prepare myself and knock lightly on the door.
You're that girl from before.
The girl turns and notices me. I set foot in the classroom. There is no immediate interruption from General Teddy. It looks like he has not scheduled a match between us. I breathe a sigh of relief.
What are you doing here? Ain't it obvious? I'm cleaning up the classroom. It's no picnic, what with people running wild and wrecking things.
She takes down the chairs piled on top of each other and lines them up. After a few runs, she takes a breath. Though she is complaining, there is a gentle smile on her face.
But I guess this is all in a day's work for a student council president. We'll look back on it and laugh, right? You seem like you're having fun. That's because I love my school. Even the chores are fun for me. The reason I wanted to be president is because of that. Oh, it can be rough when things get out of hand like this. But it's dangerous here. You must leave at once. Won't you come with me?
She seems confused by my words and tilts her head to one side.
What? You're worried about me? Hey, I'm the president. And you might not think so to look at me, but I ain't no slouch in a fight. I'll be fine. No, that's not what I mean.
How should I put this? She still has no idea of the danger. She walks up next to me, takes a long look at my face, and giggles.
Your clothes are pretty out there, but I can see you mean well. Thanks. Some of these students won't listen to a word I say, but I feel like I gotta be here. No, I wanna be here. Even if it puts you in danger? You're really a drama queen, aren't you? Who's to say I'm in danger for sure? Besides,
Her eyes burn with affection for something dear to her.
even if you're right, I'd want to stay here.
There's no need to test her commitment. It is consistent with the fact of this world being created. Then, is she human?
I always wanted to go to school with everyone, just like normal. That's all. Does that imply you couldn't do so before? You're asking me that now? Honestly? Back then,
She stops abruptly. I wait patiently for her to continue, but her face twists with suffering.
Huh?
She puts her fingers to her temple. Her knees begin to buckle.
What's wrong? Weird. The past. How come it's...
She begins to fall, and I catch her. At that precise moment, There's a strong reading from my fingers as soon as I touch her. It's so strong, like touching a hot stove. This is the same reading as when I first stuck my hand into the TV. It is coming from a personality module, a piece of lost technology called Plumes of Dusk by the researchers due to its shape. I have one inside me as well. This is not merely strong evidence, it is conclusive. There are still questions to be answered, but this girl can be none other than Labrys. At the very least, she is not human.
Ooh. Sorry, I'm not feeling so good all of a sudden.
The memory she is trying to access is causing conflicts with her current level of awareness. If she tries to remember, she will not be able to maintain her mental state. The memory is that charged. I hold her close and wait for her to calm down. But her reaction does not improve. It gets worse. She shakes violently as if electrified. Suddenly, bright lights burst in front of my eyes.
What?
Is something flowing into me? Quickly let go of Labrys, but it does not fade away easily. Images I don't recognize flow together in my head, one after another at incredible speeds.
Are these Labrys's memories?
The torrent of data finally subsides. I analyze the data to find out what happened, and then I understand. It did not flow into me. This data was already dormant inside of me. I am the last number of the Anti-Shadow Weapon Project. I inherited all the data from the previous models of the same type, both tangible and intangible. Labrys's memories were part of it. Normally, the developers would not upload data into me that was unrelated to battle. But the Plume of Dusk is a black box. It is possible that something was transferred somehow, through that. Thinking about it, that might have been the reason I thought I saw Labrys at the airport. My glimpse of the newly awakened Labrys caused my buried records of her appearance to be called. Perhaps that is what happened. Fortunately, the memories I have just accessed are in complete disarray. I can't just flip through them like an album. The video records were not in chronological order, making them useless in their current state. However, there was one memory that left an impression on me. The sea. That cerulean sky and lingering clouds, the emerald blue water. All of the other memories are of cold, mechanical rooms or the night sky, but this one is different.
What was that just now?
Labrys staggers as she stands up. Before I can ask her anything, she abruptly shakes me off and runs out of the classroom.
Wait!
I try to chase after her, but after only a few steps, I tripped over my own feet. The information overload has prevented me from making any sudden movements. I fight through it, dragging what feels like several times the weight of my legs when...
Are you sure you want to take that girl out of here?
I stumble to a stop and look around, searching for the hidden speaker.
This is the only place she can fit in. No one will understand her once she steps outside. But she can't become human either. So she has no other choice but to wallow in this illusory school. Pitiable, isn't she? But this is the only way she can be happy. Are you going to take that from her? Who are...
I stop, suddenly realizing the answer to my question, and catch my breath in my throat. This voice. It's mine?
What will you do after you take her from here? Lock her up in a box again? How cruel. No wonder she ran away. Ran away? What are you... You don't mean... You finally figured it out? Labrys wasn't brought here by some sinister mastermind. She escaped on her own and came here. That can't be. The suspects in the hijacking case... I'm sure you've seen the opponents you fought so far robbed of their sanity. Have you forgotten already? You're saying that was Labrys's doing too? Yes. Her heart gave birth to this world, And that power is one of her abilities, from some special equipment. With a power like that, wouldn't it be simple to control a number of ordinary people?
It's true that the hijackers were confused and that there were signs of some mental interference.
It does seem strange to go to so much trouble to come to a place like this. If she did in fact do this, then she must face herself. What gives you the right to say that?
Suddenly, the tone of her voice changes. She speaks very gently, like a parent correcting a child.
You've experienced suffering before, too. It pains you to have a heart, knowing that you can never be human. Even if there was someone you considered to be worth fighting for, you can't be a real companion to them.
Au contraire, I've got his fingerprint on my sensor and everything.
That's why you chose to protect them as a weapon. But in the end, you still lost them. What do you know about me? Mere words will not cause me to abandon hope. A brave bluff. But a tool like yourself can never be a true partner for a human. Doesn't your heart yearn to be by their side and to be loved? It hurts so much that I wish I could go back to how I was before I gained a heart. Has that really never once crossed your mind? I think not. That pain will never completely disappear. It will always fester inside you. Isn't that right? Even if you take Labras away, the same will happen to her. She'll become just like you. Is that a fate you want for her? You see, here you can have anything, as long as you look away from the truth. That doesn't just go for Labras, but for you too. Even the things you have lost forever. Here, you can have them back.
Well, I mean, why not? So is Shadow Chie.
What are you?
I cut myself off, realizing that I am becoming fascinated with the voice. This isn't good. I cannot let the voice deceive me. I must get its speaker in my sights first. I carefully attune myself to the source of the voice and quickly turn in that direction. The person standing there is me. Or rather, something that looks like me. At first, I think the overload is still affecting my sensors, but that is not the case.
I'll take away your suffering. Now, take my hand, Aegis.
I smile and extend out my hand. I feel sick. This is very confusing. Don't know what to do. My mind advises caution, but my heart doesn't listen. But all of a sudden, a door opens in the corner.
Pardon my interruption of this seemingly trivial conversation.
This unexpected event brings me back to reality, and I realize that I was nearly seduced by its promises. On a second look, I can see a woman beyond the doorframe. That distinctive blue dress. I recognize the attire of an elevator girl. Her name was Elizabeth San, I believe. But why is she here? You know, it's all the more confusing that the answer is not part of Persona 3 Reloaded because it is blatantly part of the story. There is nothing outwardly abnormal about her pose, but it is as imposing as the battle stance. She opens her thick leather-bound book, then smiles dauntlessly at the other me.
Excuse me, but I would like a word with this lady over here. Would you mind leaving?
Who are you?
If you don't leave the two of us, I must resort to giving you a hearty thrashing with my book. It's a hardcover, leather-bound edition, and is quite powerful. Enough to do over 4 digits on average, I'd say.
Without warning, the pages from the open book overflow with light.
What? I don't believe this.
The other me's face flinches in pain, and she vanishes into thin air while spitting a curse. Did she cease to exist? I can no longer pick up any readings on her. The tension leaves my body, and I collapse to the ground. While I'm there, Elizabeth walks towards me. I first met her 2 years ago. Her attire is somewhat strange, but the place I met her was even stranger. A blue room. That is the only way to describe that mystical space. Its residents called it the Velvet Room. I do not believe it is at all part of the real world. There, Elizabeth was one who governs power. She helped me to grow spiritually by introducing me to the power of personas. I never imagined that she would leave that room, let alone that I would run into her here. Yet her appearance here has saved me.
I'm sorry for that. Thank you for saving me. Did I save you?
She stares straight at me, then lets out a long sigh of disappointment.
I was on a journey for personal reasons, but I sensed some extraordinary powers clashing against each other and came to see what all the fuss was about. Only to be met with this bitter disappointment.
I am baffled by her candidness.
Please stand. Have you already forgotten the enlightenment you gained before me once? Has it escaped your prodigious goldfish-like memory? It seems that I must once again ascertain what you are truly capable of.
She speaks in tones as if she is engaging in everyday conversation and opens her leather-bound book again. I suddenly feel the deadly force of her intent, fierce as a gust of wind. Something about me has disappointed her. I know that much. But I clearly have no time to ask her what it is.
Well, here goes. The cards will decide your fate.
Hey, we're up to 4 battles now. The lethal elevator attendant, Elizabeth!
Finally!
Aha! Ooh, that got me good.
Persona, strike, going! Here, I summoned Athena! Fire! Go! Athena! Venator! Let's change the persona! Fire!
What? Well done.
Well, at least we know it's not broken, Silver.
Well done.
Elizabeth stands from her kneeling position. Though she is lost, she did not so much as break a sweat. While I, for my part, am detecting strain on my entire drive system. I can see myself lacking the energy to even speak, reflecting in Elizabeth's clear eyes.
You are indeed neither man nor any ordinary machine. You are truly singular. But then can anyone be said to be the same as anybody else?
Yes, perhaps the same could be said of all religions.
People anguish over the gulf between themselves and others, and the lack of any who could possibly understand them. How is their situation different from yours? What defines life is not death, but bonds. That is the answer you once reached. Then take that to heart and go forth. Remember that your bonds will remain unbroken, giving you the strength to withstand any suffering.
My bonds.
I, too, am currently on an endless journey, but I anticipate that you will become a compatriot of mine, unbound by the limitations of time. I hope that you will not be led astray by trivial things. With that, I bid you good luck.
Elizabeth bows and finally shows me her smile. Immediately after, she turns on one heel and walks toward the hallway. I suddenly remember.
There are rules to this tournament delineating behavior after a match.
Such parlor tricks can get stuffed. I shall be on my way.
True to her word, she leaves the room with no trouble and closes the door with an exaggerated slam. Those walls were nothing to her. But come to think of it, Labrys didn't seem subject to those rules either. Do they only apply to participants in the tournament? No. In Elizabeth's case, it simply does not matter to her.
She remains a complete enigma.
I find it amusing, which allows me to feel more relaxed.
It may be true that this world can grant one's true desire, but I want Labrys to see past herself to a world where other people matter. Even if one discards their bonds to avoid pain, all that awaits is a numb, desert-like future with no promise.
And lots of doors.
I thought as she did once, so I'm sure I can understand her.
I too felt the same as Labrys. Sure. Yeah, just tell me twice. I too felt the same as Labrys when I went through an incredibly trying ordeal. If there's no one to stretch out their hand to her, she'll hide herself deeper within her blockade. Labrys has fallen into a trap she cannot escape on her own. That is because the key to extricating oneself is the realization that one is not alone.
I want to form a bond with Labrys, with my sister. I want to teach her things that she cannot learn if she is alone.
Saying it out loud helps to strengthen my resolve. I change my approach and focus on searching for a way to save her. Still, that thing that looked like me. Was that what Naoto-san meant by a shadow going berserk? My own shadow. Thinking of it that way sheds some light on things. Of course, I can control my persona and have some tolerance for this world, but the heart cannot easily be stabilized. If the same thing happened to Labrys, I suddenly realized the dangers involved. I impatiently suppress these thoughts and dash out to the hallway. Alright, getting close. I follow the path formed by the invisible walls. Eventually, I climb the stairway to the third floor. There seem to be no walls here, allowing me to go as I please. I can tell the end is near, so I prepare myself. Soon, I stand in front of a room that has a sign outside saying, "Announcement Room." The door is half opened. I can sense someone inside. I cautiously press up against the door and peek around it. This is an announcement room, as the sign indicated, but the space inside is much larger than the classrooms I have seen. The equipment here is also closer to that of a TV studio than what would be found in a school. On top of that, the back wall is made of glass, showing a view that is clearly not a schoolyard. Taken together, this is the first distinct sign that this is not the real world. As I expected, Labrys is here, standing in the middle of the room. There's also another boy and girl as well. The girl is holding Labrys' shoulders, and the boy stands in front of the pair, protecting them. Across from them is General Teddy. It seems that this is the end of the line. I've seen that. Really? It's not you who made it here. Like Yosuke really got here? I've seen that boy's face on the video. Yosuke Hanamura-san, I believe. I'm not familiar with the girl's face, but I do recognize her distinctive voice that I have not heard once in this entire playthrough for some reason. I recognize it just the same. It's the same voice that has been commentating on the fights along with General Teddy on the school PA. Again, not once. From the tone of the commenting, I thought she was working with the general, but right now she seems to be on Yosuke-san and Labrys' side. I recall what Chie-san told me. Chie-san said that she, Rise-san, was originally their friend. In which case she may actually be another victim. General Teddy gives a cruel smile, squints his eyes, and speaks.
What a shame. You gave it a try, but there's no way anyone would understand you. Huh?
General Teddy's voice and tone have undergone a remarkable change. Listening closely, this voice is... Ah, so it finally reveals its true form.
At least one of them has to understand how I feel. Isn't that what you thought? The important part is that it's all your fault. That's not true. You still refuse to remember? Look at me. And stop deluding yourself.
That doesn't look like Sailor Moon.
I am a shadow. The true self. No way. That's... She has my face.
But the face is the only thing that's the same. The rest of her body is covered in metal. There is no doubt that it's man-made. Labrys lets out a short scream and backs up.
Stop! I'm not like that!
Calm down. It's just taking that form to agitate you.
Yosuke is frantically trying to calm a confused Labrys. It's just taking that form to... The game is just taking this form to agitate me. That's what he says, but is that really the case? I have my own suspicions.
No! 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 Taking that form, huh? Well, you have a point. I do have the power to confuse people's senses. Warp what they're seeing. Twist what they're hearing.
That's how you made my senpai fight each other.
Of the things you're seeing right now, which do you think is real and which is fake?
The former General Teddy, no, Labrys' shadow, breaks out into a grin. Labrys, meanwhile, is cringing in fear as she holds onto Yosuke's sleeve.
No! I'm not like you! I'm human, aren't I?
Huh? What do you mean?
I can see that Yosuke does not know how to answer the sudden question.
And how did I come to have these special powers? Why, it's because I have them.
With that, the shadow snaps its fingers. At once, static like that on a poorly tuned TV starts appearing around Labrys and slowly envelops her. I enhance my vision. Nothing is happening to Labrys' body. It was my own vision that was clouded, or had been until now. Soon after the noise dissipates, an inhuman-looking girl is standing in her place.
Huh? A robot?
Metallic arms and legs extend from her uniform. Thrusters on her back spread like wings. It's just as I thought. Her body is identical to that of the shadow in front of her.
Look, that's what she really looks like. It's her who's been deceiving you all from the start. Not only you, but herself too. She really thinks that she's a human living a normal life at school. To reinforce her make-believe as real, she prevented herself from accessing any memories that could contradict that. She even sealed away her own name. No! Stop! Why are you doing this?
Well, even though the illusion chain ended, her voice remains the same.
Kindly hurry up and remember me.
Remember yourself. It's pretty rude of you to even forget your own name.
No! I don't want to remember!
Huh. Is that so? Looks like you still need an extra push.
Shadow grins evilly and swings the enormous axe at Labris. Or actually, at Yosuke-chan.
Yosuke-senpai!
Before the axe can complete its arc, I am already in action. I must intervene. Neither Labris and shock at seeing her true form, nor Yosuke-san or Issei-san are prepared for the attack.
What the?
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure Yosuke is definitely not prepared for the attack. I deflect the strike with a metallic part of my arm. It was heavier than I anticipated. The battle axe is a giant lump of metal that blocks most of my vision.
A girl? Wait, you're a robot too?
I turn my head to Labris and look straight into her shocked eyes.
You must remember, that is the only way the future will open up to you. You must accept it, no matter how painful it may be.
I tell her name in a clear voice. Her official name, which includes something no human has, a model number.
Your true name is 5th generation anti-shadow suppression weapon, Labris.
Labris quivers violently, as if an invisible arrow had pierced her chest.
Welcome to the Velvet Room. This place exists between dream and reality, mind and matter. Now then,
And
why don't you
finally,
introduce yourself?
finally, we will have Labris. But not this week. Oh no, if I start it, it's going to be like half an hour until the first bookmark. Nuh-uh.
The persona you have acquired. It is a side of you that shows itself when you face the world around you. Perhaps you can think of it as a facade of determination you wear to face various difficulties in life.
Quite possibly, Dio. So, well, I'm honestly surprised you're able to get through all of that before the top of the hour, but here we are. But anyway, I guess we're just going to take it easy. So, for now, on this lovely Monday, my name is Drew, and I have been streaming for Damage Control, and I need to center myself a little better. Damage Control is a variety stream where we have a variety of games and a variety of streamers. If you come back on Sunday, it's not this Sunday you have to skip, but the next one, right, Silver? So if you come back on Sunday, you can see some more SteamWorld Dig 2 that just got started yesterday. And if you come back on Monday, you'll see Labris' story for Persona 4 Arena. Hooray! Okay. Yep, so I remembered it correctly. Sounds good to me then. So anyway, so Damage Control is not just the stream. This is kind of our side hustle to the blog, where we write about video games, anime, movies, music, pop technology, pop culturally stuff in general. And any day we're not streaming, so that would be Tuesday through Saturday on a typical week. We've got at least one new entry on the blog every day. We also put up streaming announcements on the blog, so if you want to know when we're going to stream a bit earlier than the second we go online, as Twitch tells you, just look at the blog. You'll get hours of notice instead. And if you can't be bothered to go to the blog, you can also just follow the blog's account on Twitter, Mastodon, or Facebook, and just, you know, see our auto posts. Well, the posts aren't quite so auto on Twitter anymore, but, you know, that is but one of many problems there. And anyways, if you're watching this VOD on YouTube, go ahead and give us a like and a subscribe there so you can see the next part when it comes out. And finally, if you like talking about the stuff that we like writing about, there's even more going on our Discord. Feel free to jump in there and chat us up, or just creepily lurk and, you know, read it all. You know, it's more content from us, so why not? And anyway, so I just want to give out just a few more thank yous to Silver and Goblin for all those delicious and questionably nutritious Kit Kats. And also a big thank you for everybody who came, whether you participated in the chat, whether you looked, whether you came for a minute, whether you came for the whole run. You know, you are a part of this, and this is now a part of you. No takes backsies. So, with that all being said, let's find someone to raid. Oh, Silver is already on it. So what's Writer Headspace playing? Just make sure it's a warm transfer. Alright, Resident Evil 4. Oh boy, we get to see a thirsty president's daughter. Of course, it's so weird because in real life a president's daughter would be like 60 years old, right? But I digress. So, let's get this rolling and give Writer Headspace your level best. And I'll see you all next week. Just waiting for the timer here.